huge changes are coming up. That's clear. The market is uncertain. Where does it go? What do we get? How will this market look in a year from now? The crypto market. That is unpredictable, to be honestly. Now, the states in Europe are regulating things. They say certain coins are good for this and others we don't even want to talk about. So you get a kind of elite coins, and then you get what is under there, maybe a second layer, and then a third layer, like most of the 99.99999 of the meme coins. Now, where can you make the most money? Most of the time on those meme coins, because when you can buy something for 10 zeros, 111, and it becomes 5 zeros, 111, you made a nice amount of money. And now I was never in these things, but because I know one thing, more than 80% not even reaches the $100,000, and then from that, even that 18%, from that not even a whole bunch not even reach the 1 million market cap. So there is a lot of nonsense. And with regulations, you can regulate that a little bit without that you say, because there's the danger for the crypto market. It was decentralized business. That was great. That was fantastic. And now it looks like they slowly centralize it, and it comes in the hands of the banks and the governments again, and of course the central banks from the Rothschilds, of course, in their hands as much as possible. You see how they manipulate the market this last month. You see how it's not falling down, because then you lose all people, okay? That's also not good, because a lot of new people stepped in November and December, and that was great for the market, and that gave volume in the market, and we had record sales, etc., etc. It was all fantastic, really. But these are also people who put $1,000 in, or $500 or $300. And when that is on $50 or $40, they take it out and don't look to that market for the next couple of years. Now, they squeezing slowly the juice out of the market. You see that the last couple of weeks, but they don't let it fall down. It doesn't happen, but it was for certain moments on the borderline. It helps nobody when it goes down and the trust is out, and the crypto market is still too sensitive for that. So they lower the prices, they manipulate the prices, that the prices go down, and then they come. And then you see, and then one time a big volume in certain exchanges. But we know also that most institutions don't buy from exchanges. They buy before that. Not with the exchanges in the middle. And they buy cheap. They buy high volume and they buy cheap. And you can see the volumes for certain moments. Now, what will happen now, in my idea? I think a lot about 89 for a lot of young people, that is, when was that? They were not even born. But in 89, you saw all these tech companies coming up. And one dropped, and another dropped, and they merged, and they started working together, and there were partnerships, and there were all these little shares. And there were IPOs, and it was exciting. I was 3 years in the middle there, and learned a lot about options, and it was simply fantastic. But a lot of victims. Okay? Now, I remember I was in that time, I had to go to the bank, and we were there early in the morning, before 10 o'clock. And then it opened at 10 o'clock, and then 10:30, 11 o'clock, left, came back at 3:30, because at 4 o'clock European time, New York opened, and then I wanted to be there again. And we were there with about 15 men and women, and then slowly it became less and less and less, and certain people lost hundreds of thousands in '89. I did it careful. I played with a little bit of money, and I made some money. So now I see a little bit like, I see a little bit like when they introduce coin token, you see that pre-market work, and you see the community work. And for me that is like pre-IPO. So I'm thinking we will get a more stabilized pre-IPO market, but also regulated. That a lot of that meme coins, which are really nonsense, built on nothing, that they slowly disappear. That is my expectation. And that slowly can be also quickly. Now you have certain meme coins who raise to the top, but then their position is changing. They started as, and now they are a real established asset, almost, some. And so there is these changes. But how will the market react on that? I think we get about 150, 200, maybe 250 regulated by the SEC coins for the US. In Europe, they have a little bit like, do we want to have that all regulated by the states, or are we doing that ourselves? And certain coins, we don't want to have so much power in our financial system. And as assets, I heard a little bit anti-Bitcoin in Europe. Not to have them, but from the governments as asset, because it becomes then maybe in 4 or 5 years from now, it's like, okay, there is a new dollar and the name is changed in Bitcoin. And they're doing the same game as they did the last 60, 70, 80 years. More than 100 actually, when you go to the history. I think, but especially right after the Second World War, they start pushing that, and everything became dollarized. And so now we see these changes, and that gives also opportunities. So before the 10 and the 18 of March, there are certain things. Investigate that, what happens. What they will announce. They will announce certain coins to be accepted as completely regulated. What will happen with these coins? Regulated in the USA, you don't have to pay 30% on it, taxes, on a part of it or all of it. Don't know. Really don't know. That's the uncertainty in the market. Will they all be tax-free, or only the regulated ones, or only the top 100 regulated ones that get a special status? Think a little bit about the stock market and the top 500 and what is under there, and the IPO market. Now, when you put that on crypto, and you see that already a little bit, only not named like that, that you say, my worry is that the charm of the crypto markets being decentralized, that slowly comes in danger. It will be all again centralized. Actually, that's what they will start doing with their political friends. All these regulations. Now, and here is the thing. Will China fall for that? There is a certain regulation in China. They see what it can do to the country. They see that the control on their own money can slowly disappear when a lot is taken over by Bitcoin. So China is not totally pro that all, but they slowly open the market for the crypto, but also regulate it. But I don't know if that is regulated by having really control for their own profit. That is then the big difference with the US, where it's always about the multinationals and their profits and the central bank and their profits. Yeah. There is the BRICS countries. When you see how many countries want to join the BRICS, I think officially there are now 30 countries or something, but on the list are more than 100 who want to join. And the BRICS in the 1st of June will introduce their coin. Yeah, they will do that. And that is interesting. And that gives a balance in the power grab, what the US, what Trump wants to do, like we have to get the control on it. And I have something like, well, should we let that happen? Because as investors, you can also say, you know what, everything what is controlled by the US government, we take our money out. Well, that will happen with people in the rest of the world. But in the US, it's interesting to invest in all these coins. You hear the church now. That means it's 4:15. Thank God it's not too long. And so that power grip on these coins, I think there will be a US citizen market, more and more controlled. And it's interesting for people that live in the USA because it will be tax free. To start with. And when it started, then in 5 years they will start with 5%, that becomes 8%, and it becomes 10%. Yeah? Okay? But first get them in the net. Yeah? In the tax net. Now, Europe will try to do the same. The BRICS countries are more liberal. There it will be different. Now, where is the population growing? In the BRICS countries. There it's growing. Say Canada, US, Europe, Australia, that is 1 billion people. And there are 6.5 billion people on the other side who have not a good experience with the Western world when they look really back. So they will say, wait a minute, we want to control it ourselves. India wants to control it themselves, Russia, China, the Central African countries, South Africa, Brazil, Argentina maybe, Colombia for sure. And so you see a lot of countries are ready for something new, another way, more respectful, less dependent on other countries, more respect for each other. That will be the change. So what you hear me talking now, it's really politics, okay? Politics try to control, and the rest of the world says 6.5 billion people at this moment say, wait a minute. Especially in Africa, there is a huge movement. France, their influence in Africa is whoopah. And Germany the same. Europe tries as Europe to do something there, and even that is now dropping. There's a huge change. So on a huge change, there are opportunities. There are also there is misery because certain people are cut out. People lose their job. You see it in the States now. Certain things get closed. The change is sometimes frightening. But for the rest of the world, outside the Western world, it's a little bit like, finally, we have our self-control. This all affects this market at this moment. Where are we heading? So every month further, regulation, how are the regulation? What does it mean? Okay, we know for the US it means that, probably Canada the same. But people in Mexico, they will be totally different. Because they don't have these regulations. You never know that they can't, because that's, I think, a thing that's impossible. That they say, hey, that coin can only be traded in the US, not in the rest of the world. I think that's not possible. So, they can only regulate it within their jurisdiction. Yeah? The US. So, and in Europe. So there is then, and then Europe is such a loose bond that you say, hey, 9 of the 10 countries will say we will accept it, and the other 2 will say no, we have our own system. So, but you have that in the US also. You have certain states which are really outside the how many exchanges are, for instance, not possible in California, Washington, and New York State. Yeah, only there, and in other parts it's possible. So all these regulation gives insecurity, but it gives also opportunities. So look to coins that you say they're not the top, but they are a little bit under there, because I expect that a lot of money from the top will start flowing to more the middle range. That's what I expect. But it's what I say, with all the insecurities what are there, okay? Therefore, a lot of people also say, like, but it has also technical reasons, Bitcoin will not rise as much, but Ethereum will rise much more in percentage, especially the first half year. Now, let's see how that works out this year. For the first 6 months, they expect Ethereum, and he's doing it, okay, going more. That has technical reasons. That has to do with the cap, etc., but it's the technical reasons of the flexibility of the blockchain, the speed, and all these things, and what you can build on it, and how it can be connected with other blockchains, etc., yeah? The interfaces between all these. That has all effect on it. So, let's see what happens, but check out these middle coins. Be careful with the meme coins. As always, I would say start when they are 20 million, okay? And the rest, forget. Really forget. It's pure gamble. It's casino. Now, if you have money for casino and you say, hey, I spent a 500 in a casino and I don't care and I gamble, well, your chance to make something on it is something like 1% or something like that. It's almost zero. Yeah. Some people have some lucky streaks, and you know, it's like the American dream. I always say this because it's so typical for people's minds. There are 2 things. That is, you go to the casino and you lose, you tell nobody. You lose every time 500, you tell nobody. You win one time, after many, many times, $1,000, you tell everybody. Now, the American dream is the same BS. Okay? The American dream is there are 10,000 people that fail, and one makes it. And that one is lifted in the media like, see what is possible in the USA. Wow, incredible. And nobody cares about the 9,999 who didn't make it. Nobody cares. Because only people with money count. Now, there is a little bit like, nah. And I see that also in the crypto, you see who made some money with the meme coins or tokens, and when they succeed, they are on videos and they predict all kind of things, and then you say, now I'm limited knowledgeable in the crypto markets, but I have a long time experience in politics and shares and financial markets. I know a lot of things about that, and I combine these things. But there are a lot of young people who have hardly any idea, and they predict all kind of nonsense. On the other side, you have a lot of young people, and I really like that, who really investigate this and learn and learn. There is one guy, and I will name him one time. At this moment, his name is not here. He's a little bit a Chinese Eastern guy, and he has good, very good videos where he explains the things and why he bought this and why he bought that, and he does that so fantastic. I listen to him, and the rest mainly on TikTok. Sorry, TikTok, but there is a lot of the nonsense there. They only scream with loud text like, oh, Ethereum will be tomorrow 100% more, and I don't know what nonsense they all say. For what? Oh, to get viewers and to make some money there. Okay? A lot of those, I think, never made money on one crypto. So, yeah, we have to filter all these things, and filtering is not easy. And I make another video about that, about how to filter more, because we are overloaded with information, but also there, like the meme coins, 99% is nonsense. Enjoy your day. Be careful.